What's up? Welcome into another episode of the Patriots Podcast. I'm Sean here with Ryan and JJ.
Hello.
What's up?
Gentlemen, the 2022 NFL season is in the books. We had a really entertaining Super Bowl. I know none of us liked either of the teams going into this game, but you got to say, it went right down to the 2-minute warning. After that, it was anticlimactic. But, off the bat, Eagles go off, get a lead early, carry that into halftime. Could have been larger. Who knows? And then the Chiefs storm back. JJ, I want to toss you a question. Did the Eagles blow this game?
A little bit. I mean, they did lose. I feel like the Jalen Hurts play of him, I don't know what happened. He basically dropped back, dropped the ball, and they scooped and scored. You could say that's the difference in the game. And it's unfortunate because Jalen played a hell of a game. I mean, they've been a running team throughout their last couple playoff games here, leading up to the Super Bowl, and in this game they kind of let it fly. They were just dropping back and going for bombs. I didn't like some of the play calling late, and they had a chance, but they didn't pull it off at the end there, and then they got burned kind of with a call. You could argue it was the right call, but in that type of game, people were getting mauled in the secondary all game. Nobody called anything, and so they throw a flag on a holding on the last, what was it, minute 45 left. They would have, Eagles would have got the ball back. So it's tough to say. I mean, you really got to just give Pat Mahomes a ton of credit, I guess, is what I walked away from this game. When he hurt his ankle again, I thought that was it. I mean, that's 3 times he hurt his ankle in 3 games over the course of a month, which is really tough. And it didn't affect him. He was still making plays. He was running the ball. I mean, they weren't, super dominant all game. They really came alive in the fourth quarter. But, I mean, pretty impressive by him. That's really what I came away with.
Ryan, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think they blew the game. I thought it was a good, tight, competitive game, basically all the way through. The big play there you mentioned was the Nick Bolton fumble recovery for the touchdown. That was a really bizarre play. I thought other than that, Jalen Hurts was awesome. Played one of his best games, maybe his best game ever on the biggest stage. Really just came down to, it looked like second half adjustments for me. The things they were doing to get Mahomes open and really beat up Mahomes out in space and to get the receivers open. They did some different things there, and they kind of beat up on the secondary of the Eagles, which was going in, I thought, one of their strong suits, but it didn't look that way on the field. It looked like Avonte Maddox, Marcus Epps, those kinds of guys were getting beat. And then the play at the end, that was the big one. I thought it was a super entertaining, super close game. I don't think you can make that call in that situation, not because it's not a penalty, but you have to be consistent throughout the whole game.
Right.
And
exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, if you're going to call that, you should have called that the whole game. To call it in that spot, I think, that's brutal for it to be decided like that. And not that it was decided on that, they still would have probably got some points there. But it was about
They would have got a field goal.
It was a time situation.
Yeah.
So it probably cost them another, minute and 30 seconds.
Basically, they ran the clock down to 2 plays. They gave the Eagles 2 plays, kickoff return, and that horrible.
What was that?
Fucking.
I think his foot slipped. I mean, we saw people slip the entire day.
I know. How is that? Slipped. Isn't that pretty amazing that field, what was it, the first time they ever used? They're like, we're going to use an experimental field during the Super Bowl.
Experimental, strain of grass. Expensive as hell, and it was they put it in 2 weeks before. I was like, why don't you? It's the biggest stage on the planet.
Wouldn't you have tested it during an NFL football game before the fucking Super Bowl?
Oh, it was horrible.
Someone should get fired. A whole company should get fired for that. I mean, what the hell was that?
I think the Eagles had to switch their cleats, like all the players. They put that down 4 feet deep. I heard they put it down 4 feet deep of loam and sod.
It doesn't matter how deep it goes. It matters about the top, I guess.
Supposedly they've been researching this grass and it cost $800,000 or something like that. It's like,
Sounds like a scam to me.
Cost
Just gonna
$800
throw that
grand,
out there.
and it's trash. It's shit. I always like grass. As far as
Just put down real grass for fuck's sake.
Or not an experimental thing. I mean, could you imagine
Yeah.
if they go out to
Yeah.
the national anthem? They're like, "This is an experimental microphone. This is our
Yeah.
first time doing this." Like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't do that.
No,
the playing
you would never
surface
do
too.
that.
And that's the other thing that really pisses me off about the halftime show is there's so much, fan fodder and shit they put on the field and fuck up the field and everybody's walking on it, and then they got this team of like 50 guys coming out after the halftime show, like trying to fix all the divots and
Yeah.
it's like, why do you have to, and that's not even with Rihanna on the floor. She had those really cool rigging
I'm
systems
surprised they
lowering
did
her.
that, dude. Those lift things
Yeah, the rigging team on that killed it.
killed it. You killed
awesome.
it. I mean, I think a few months ago they showed those things. There was a show in either China or Japan or something, and one of them collapsed. It's like one of them fell, and it was
Yeah,
a
that's not good.
big.
It was
bad-
going through my brain during that show. I was like, "Oh
Yes.
my god!" And
Yeah.
the platform's not that big either.
and the
No.
wire's not that much, and there's not
Yeah.
much you can do if anything goes wrong. It's like, that's
My thing with it was
I'd be scared to stand on that thing.
yeah.
I thought she was looking bigger because she had a harness on. Because why would you not be harnessed on that? You know what I mean? Like,
She was harnessed in there.
was she?
Yeah, I
didn't notice
noticed it. I kept
Okay.
looking. They had a strap attached from basically their back, right above their their lower back, down to the floor of that
Smart.
thing. But it
Smart.
wasn't like it was basically they were attached to the thing, which makes sense. But it's like if the thing falls, that person strapped to the thing is dead.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Most likely.
That's
Yeah, I
some serious rigging there to get that.
That is
and to
scary.
get it to come in like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nice and uniform, keep it all level the whole time. Like,
They must have had cranes going over the top
Yeah.
of the stadium.
Yes,
I don't know what they did.
Excellent
what they did?
halftime show. Very, very good performance by everybody. Back to the game, if we could.
Yeah, sure.
I think the two you guys definitely touched on some important points there. The one thing I would point out is that Eagles go into halftime 10-point advantage. I believe
Big lead.
they had twice as much time of possession in the first half
Yep.
than the Chiefs did. And then they're kicking off to the Chiefs to start the second half. Chiefs possessions in the second half. Touchdown, 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 field goal.
Yeah, they were really
Pretty
good
good.
in the second half.
I mean, how bad is that defense? And now the Arizona Cardinals hire that defensive coordinator as their head coach. They fell apart defensively in that second half. The whole idea with this Philly defense, you touched on, Ryan, the secondary before, but their defensive line, I think they set a record for the number of sacks in the season.
And then they didn't touch him.
They didn't touch him once. This is a guy that's physically compromised with an
I
offensive
didn't
line
get
it's an upper half offensive line, but nobody's sitting there saying this is the number one offensive line. They were on the other sideline during this game. And I mean, the Eagles defensive line runs about 6-7 guys deep. They're cycling these guys in and out. It's not a fatigue thing. They played less than half of the first half on defense. I mean, that's a complete breakdown defensively. I would think that those are the people that I'd be pointing the finger at.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
All those points are true. And just to pile on that a little bit, the Eagles stopped running the ball. As far as with their running backs, they run too much with the quarterback, which, I get that's the kind of player that he is. But, what is this? 7 carries for Gainwell, 7 carries for Sanders, and only 3 for Boston Scott. You would think they, with the game, not out of hand, but, they had it in control. You would
Right.
think they would try to grind the clock a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
I completely agree, man. They had the lead by at least a score going into the fourth quarter, and they've been dominant in the running game. I mean, they ran over the Giants a couple weeks ago. They ran really well, 2 weeks ago in the the championship game, and they these coaches. I feel like the young coaches don't know how to win the game. It's like you have the lead. Make your decisions to, run the clock out, long drives, and then your defense gets some rest, and you win the game. And a lot of these teams don't know how to do it anymore. Like the Rams, I feel like really screwed that up in the Patriots Super Bowl with McVay. The Falcons before that, and the Patriots Super Bowl before that. This game, the Eagles, if they just killed clock and they kept bombing it. They kept going for downfield bombs, and it's like that doesn't kill any clock. You need to kill the freaking clock right now, and they can't do it. They had the lead. I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah, they gave up the lead pretty quickly in the second half. Before the end of the third quarter, actually very early on.
Fourth quarter, right?
Very early on in the fourth quarter, the Chiefs were able to take the lead. And then coming back, the Eagles punted 4th and 3 from their own 32. People are talking about, they should have gone for it. 4th and 3 from your own 32.
No, that's stupid. You can't.
That would be dumb with like 13 minutes to go in the game. But that punt comes back to the 5-yard line. Kadarius Toney played a good game. He had a touchdown in the first half.
Yeah.
And then he's got what turned out to be, I couldn't believe this, the longest punt return in Super Bowl history. It's like no one's returned a punt for a touchdown in the entire
I was thinking of Desmond Howard
history.
And I was like, well, he didn't have anything longer than that against the Patriots, because I remember him just destroying us in that fucking game.
Think about how many punt returns have been. This is like Super Bowl 57.
I know, that one's surprising.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was an enormous play for the Chiefs. They end up punching that in a couple plays later. But, you come out of this game, and the Eagles and Chiefs, you got to feel like they were both number 1 seeds. You feel like they were the best teams in each conference for at least the majority of the season. I've had a lot of concerns about Jalen Hurts and his ability to throw downfield. He played outstanding. Ryan, you touched on this earlier.
Yeah.
This is he threw for almost twice as many yards as Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. He was just undefensible effectively for at least the first half. And now he's coming into the last year under his rookie contract. He's going to get paid out the
wazoo. He's going to get so much money.
And this is a guy 2 years ago, I would have said, he's a trickster as a quarterback. He's a trick play guy.
Right.
And now 2 years later, it's like he stood toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes for the majority of the Super Bowl. He's going to get $50 million.
Lost his job to Tua in college. I mean, he's had an interesting road to get there, but I mean, he's proved it. I mean, the guy works his ass off. You could see what he does in the gym. You ever see that video of him when he was at Oklahoma? He had to transfer to Oklahoma, and he had to squat 600 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't have to, but he did.
But he did.
Incredible. Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Quarterback kind of thing.
Yeah.
So then this begs the question, going into next season, clearly these two teams were pretty evenly matched. Going into next season, which team would you rather be? Knowing that Jalen Hurts is going into the last year of his contract, he's going to need to get paid.
Probably the Chiefs. Mahomes is just
the Chiefs
dominant.
Are currently over the cap, I believe about $10 million over the cap right now. Mahomes' cap hit went from, I think, 35 this year to 46 next year. And then it's going to stay at like 46 for the next 7 years.
Yeah, I know that's a high number, but it really is all about the quarterback. When you have someone that good, if we're over the cap, we'll figure it out somehow. But we got to have this quarterback.
Frank Clark's gone. That's who's gone on that team. He hasn't done well, and he's got a big cap savings. Cut him.
Someone's going to go
in the black again,
or extend him,
Yeah, but he hasn't been that good.
He's a playoff player, oddly enough. He's
not worth the 20
third all time in playoff sacks. Like he's way up that list. It's really surprising.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Eagles are going to have some question marks in their secondary too. I think they're going to lose Bradbury to free agency, and then there was another player there, Gardner Johnson. I think they might have to re-sign him or something. But that was the problem. I thought they got their corners got beat up a little bit, and I don't know what the hell the deal is with Kelsey, man. Like, I don't know. We talk about it every week. It's so fucking annoying.
There were some clear double teams he beat too, which is stunning. They had a high low on him, and Pat Mahomes just put it zipped it in right where he needed to be. And it was
the problem is you could have the first half of the route covered, but Mahomes makes himself available for so long that it's like, oh, we can't stick with him for 10 seconds for fuck's sake. Like, but it really is impressive. I just wish he'd shut the fuck up after the game. Mahomes is doing an interview and he's got to jump in there and say whatever he wants to say. No one believed in us, no one believed in the Chiefs.
Yeah, you guys were basically you were Super Bowl favorites for a majority of the season.
I mean, you're in the top 3, right? Who was
definitely
putting 3
the Bills?
teams
Like, you're saying the Bills were the ones. It's like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah,
if he's convinced of it, then maybe it helped him.
Yeah,
but obviously it's delusional. But self-delusion sometimes could be helpful.
Yeah, I just don't like the other thing I really don't like about this. We knew this was going to be the case. It was either going to be the Eagles win and their fans destroy the city and act super obnoxious, or the Chiefs win and Mahomes has 2 Super Bowls now, so let's compare him to Brady, who's been to 10,
has 7.
He's 27. Yeah, well, he plays
Brady
a different style.
3
than Brady
before
too.
that. Brady
Look how much he's already getting hurt. Like, I granted he's a great player, but
he's got to do this for another 12 years.
Get to 4 or 5, and then we could start talking a little bit. I don't want to talk after 2. You know what I mean?
However, at his age, he is on pace. Currently on pace. Obviously, he hasn't gotten into the second and third phases of his career the way that Brady did.
There's no guarantee he gets to a third.
I know. But
Tom Brady has objectively, you could maybe break up his career into 3 Hall of Fame careers. Like, definitely 2. But, I mean, the first third of his career, he won Super Bowls, but he wasn't dominant. He wasn't carrying the team then.
The team is really good.
Yeah.
Kind of like Mahomes. So what are you going to say there, Sean, that he's on pace for what?
No, but I'm saying that currently, basically, if you took what his accomplishments have been over his 5 seasons and you extrapolated them out to a 15 or 20-year career, he would be in the Tom Brady class. However, obviously, we all know this. Things don't go that way. No. It's not like, I'm sure if you looked up who the fastest, actually, I think I know this, the fastest baseball player to 100 home runs, and you go, okay, this guy, Tony Canigliaro, who played for the Red Sox and ended up getting beamed in the eyeball and never played again. He was the fastest player to 100 home runs. And you go, okay, well, if we extrapolate this out and he plays as many seasons as Babe Ruth, he's going to hit 900 home runs, whatever it is.
Right.
It is fair to say that he is on pace. It is not fair to say that he is in the same class. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. I mean, how old was Brady when he got his third? 26?
Like 27.
27. So there you go.
Yeah.
Mahomes already lost
23-year-old. Brady was a 23-year-old rookie, and then he sat out his first season. So his first season as a starter, he was 24. Mahomes was 22.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of
obviously it's
tosses
premature.
Around the goat thing all the time. So stupid.
Yeah, he's a great player.
You know how many quarterbacks have 2 Super Bowls? A lot. Have 2
he's in the Eli Manning territory right now. Not the Tom Brady.
Compare him. Actually, if you compare him to Ben Roethlisberger over the number of seasons, it's pretty fucking close.
Yeah,
you're right. And Ben never won again.
The difference there is
way better quarterback than Ben.
Yeah, the regular season numbers are crazy, but that's also a reflection. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but it's a reflection of how the league is too. Like, it's such a pass heavy league, Of
course. And the league's down too. The AFC is obviously competitive, but just as a whole, the league has definitely been down. There were less touchdowns, points, everything this year. Mahomes is great, but that's he's up there. If he retired, he'd be considered a great quarterback, and I think that's where he'll be. Brady proved, Brady even said between his 2 Super Bowls, 2014, he was like, "This is the hardest one we ever had to get. Like, it seemed easy because our team was so good. And the Chiefs have been the last 2 drafts. It's like incredible drafts, right? It's like everyone they got was
really
someone. So that really helps. I mean, you have 1 or 2 bad drafts, it can go sideways pretty quick.
Yeah, and then Tom Brady walks out the door.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to need to restock at some point. I mean, I like Tony as a player. Kelsey's. How much longer does Kelsey have to play? Maybe 3-4 years.
He's like, what is he? 33.
That's one of my. He's 33. He'll be 34 next season.
So
he's playing great, but does he have 2 years left? Does he have 4 years left? I would think 4 is the absolute max.
Well,
you can't play like him at 38.
Right. Gronk went down pretty quick and then just became like a playoff guy for the Bucs. Really.
Yeah. The thing with Mahomes that is, does give him a chance at someday, maybe possibly being in the conversation with Brady. Is you can't touch these guys anymore. Back in, what was it, 08, when the guy landed on Tom Brady's shin, that right now you get suspended for that kind of hit now.
Well, they're going to outlaw the tackle that has been causing these high ankle sprains. That's one of their...
Which is what?
The hip drop tackles.
Oh, my God. The hip drop
where you grab them, you drop your hips, and then their foot gets caught under the defender. They're going to outlaw those. I think they're going to outlaw them.
That's horrible.
It's going to turn into two-hand touch. Yeah. I don't know.
They might as well. Honestly, no shit. Like,
you get 2 hands on the quarterback, it's a sack.
That's what I'm saying. Put a flag on the quarterback and just call it a day. Make it simple.
Red shirt.
Put
the red jersey on.
It is absurd.
That'll solve us the problem with Josh Allen.
They have to get hit.
Yeah.
That'll be good for us with Josh Allen.
I got one more question about the Chiefs for you guys. So I'm looking at it now. The Chiefs have 74% of their cap for next season allocated to 6 players. Can you 74. Name those 6 players? Obviously, Mahomes.
The Chiefs?
The Chiefs.
Chris Jones.
Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones.
Okay.
Frank Clark.
Joe Tooney.
Joe Tooney.
And there's one more?
Yes, there's one more.
He's
making more against the cap, twice as much against the cap as the next closest player. It's Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Come on.
How much is he making?
He's making 11 on the cap. Makes Nelson
He had a pretty good game, though, didn't he?
He did have a good game, yeah. Anyway.
Did you see Melvin Gordon got a ring?
He was real honest about it, too. He was like, I didn't do shit. I'm here for the ride.
Good for him, man. Super Bowl winning running back.
Why not? He's just bounced around that division. Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we take a look back at our Super Bowl predictions at the start of the season? So I have them listed here. We went over it before the show. I predicted the 49ers, led by Jimmy Garoppolo, to beat the Chiefs. Jimmy never came back after he got the midseason injury. Rye, you guessed the Buccaneers over the Bills, and then JJ, you had the Bills over the Rams. So both of you guys were high on the Bills going into this.
But there's only
Not
one
the
of
Rams.
us that picked the team that didn't make the playoffs.
Now, I did say right after that comment, if they get derailed by injuries, they will suck. So, that did happen. What are you going to do?
You could say that about any pick, couldn't you?
Yeah, but the Rams were specifically, they did. They got screwed. Not screwed.
If the Niners had Jimmy G, do they win the Super Bowl this year?
No.
No, they don't. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Purdy went. It's not like they lost by 30 because Jimmy wasn't in there. It's
30
because they didn't have a quarterback. No, they just didn't have a quarterback.
No, they didn't have a quarterback. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, it would have definitely been more competitive. I don't think they would have beaten the Chiefs.
How about the Bucs? Huh? The Bucs. You still had faith, Rye.
I did.
You're always the first one to move on. Be like Belichick. Maybe he's losing it. This and that. Always moving on. The forefront of thought. He went with the Bucs.
It's just Tom Brady's always fucking proving me wrong, and I'm like, okay, all right, I guess. And also the NFC was like, who the fuck are you gonna pick? I think you had like the Packers high up there, right? It was like, I don't know. The Rams were
the NFC
really good overall team. Card. I did not see the Rams sucking as bad as they did. Niners went through fucking 4 quarterbacks,
Right.
and they were still good. So it's NFC is really weird, man. And then we all had the Bills of the Chiefs. So that's we don't know nothing.
That's pretty good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not too shabby. So yeah, that's how the thing comes full circle on the 2022 season. The Patriots are moving into the offseason right now, according to Pat's Cap, Miguel Benzon on Twitter, who's really an authority on the Patriots cap space. $32.8 million in cap space for the Patriots to use this offseason, which puts them right around the top of the league.
That's pretty good.
That's counting McCourty.
Counting McCourty at his current number, he is still undecided on what he's going to do.
Right.
Matthew Slater, however, is coming back 16 seasons.
Yeah, I'd like to see.
I don't know why he's
numbers
coming
on
out.
that.
Why is he coming back?
I don't
Does he
know,
want
because
to?
you can make $3 million. Why wouldn't you
Right,
want
yeah.
to make $3
Here's what
million?
I think they brought him back for the culture, to have some more bridge to the younger guys to carry on the culture. He's still a good player. I don't think he's where he was a few years ago as far as a special teams player.
Yeah.
But he's just a good guy to have around as far as leadership. I mean,
He had a couple of those out of bounds penalties this year.
yeah,
That were interesting, you
Yeah.
know, which you never seen from him. It's like, okay, so yeah, his game definitely started slipping. Yeah, I mean, we got some money. We can make a little bit more money if we want, depending on doing certain things. I know we've cut a couple guys recently, Wilkerson, right?
No,
Mhm.
yeah, nobody that's going to affect the cap because
Well, make it
they
go
were
up
all
a
on
little
rookie
bit, right?
deals. No, because the top
They were all
51
futures
rule.
deal. They weren't top 51. We don't have 51 players on the team right now, do we?
We have 60 players on the team.
Oh, we do. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I did see.
Could I
I
just
wanna know what
explain
you
that
guys-
top 51 to the listeners?
Sure. Yeah.
In the offseason, until final cutdown day at the beginning of September, they only count against the cap the top 51 highest contracts for
Right.
that season. So there you go.
So Jonnu Smith is owed, I don't know, an exorbitant amount of money this year. Where is it? He is
17.2 against the cap.
17.2 against the cap, and if you cut him now, you lose $1 million on that. But
yeah.
if you do a post June 1st, that number goes to $4.5 million in savings.
Yep.
So you only lose 12.5. I would do it. I'd fucking cut him.
I would rather
I'd get rid of it. I wouldn't deal with it next year. Next year, obviously, if you cut him, it's going to be better. But it's like, we got to move on. We have to move on from this guy. I think next year it's reversed. So you save 12, you lose 6 in dead money. So you're still losing money. I just
But-
call it a day.
But you
What?
got a new offensive coach coming in
I
to
don't
run
care.
things. You don't think
I don't
Bill
care.
O'Brien can make him usable?
I think he maybe could. It's just like I don't know. I don't want them to have to design things around him like they were last year. Like last year, they were like, "We need to get this guy going. We're paying him so much money." It's like, get rid of him, move on. They can't spend any more time trying to figure out how to get him involved. Get that guy Scotty Washington going or something, who's you're paying absolutely nothing. And is huge. Like, I don't know. He was such a bad. Just him, Aguilar. Let's just move on from them. They were bad choices. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't really like the idea of moving on with Jonnu Smith with that much money still left on the deal. I think you could maybe package that. You could
if
do,
you trade him,
I
great. If you could
I
trade
forget
him,
who the
sure.
player was a couple years ago, but they actually gave up a pick with the player to get like a lesser pick.
Jared Goff.
Was it Jared Goff? Was it
Jared Goff and Brock Osweiler both had those deals.
Brock Osweiler was the one I was thinking of, where they actually gave up a pick for less just to get him off the books. That's something I would.
Yeah,
I would
but Goff
probably
was
look
a
into.
reasonable player. Like, I don't know if can Jonnu Smith start anywhere. Like, who's going to want him?
I don't
Also,
think he's as
when
I don't think he's as useless as you're making him out to be, though. Like,
Dude, he was
when-
pretty bad. He was
When a player
pretty
gets
bad.
traded, their guaranteed money, at least portion of it, sticks with the team that trades him.
Right.
And also, if you do the post June 1 cut, you do save that number of money this season. But the rest of the guarantees don't just go away from the cap. They're on next season. That's what the post June 1 is.
Okay.
So we don't actually save overall money on the cap. It just gets spread out over 2 seasons.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
God, they
At that,
really blew it with him.
Bill O'Brien
I know
is also.
I know you're annoyed, but it's like you're gonna pay $20 million for this guy not to play on your team.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I'm
do
almost there. Yeah, I'm almost there.
There's only one more year on his deal after this season.
Right.
Yeah, we're definitely not getting the return on that. But I'd love to see what he can do with Bill O'Brien, this guy that's used 2 tight ends before. He was around in the Aaron
That's a great
Hernandez, Gronkowski era.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this is probably the best tight end class for rookies.
Drafting?
One of the best ever, I think. I think it's
Really?
top. I think it's top. It's probably the best class I've seen in at least 10 years. I don't know who would have a better class. Maybe Gronk's class.
George Kittle's class was actually really good.
Yeah.
That was a surprising year. But yeah, it's a deep class, and it's rare, very rare for tight ends to be a deep position group.
Yeah, no, normally it's not deep at all.
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3 guys being talked about and potentially could go in the first round. Obviously, there's Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. We can get into all this stuff in our draft episode, but
That's true.
there's a few guys there's one guy in particular that comps to Travis Kelce. There's some really good players in this draft. So
Totally. Yeah, so the Patriots find themselves either somewhere 5th to 7th, depending on how you do the cap numbers and what source you look at.
Yeah.
5th to 7th in terms of cap space overall in the NFL. So they're in a very good position, and it doesn't get worse year to year. We're in a position where we have a quarterback on a rookie contract for the next 2 seasons, and then 5th-year option control over him again at a very modest salary. That would be 3 years down the line. So they're in a very good position to be able to spend money. Now it's about identifying the right people to spend money on. We just talked about Johnny Smith. There's Nelson Aguilar. There's been a couple swings and misses, as you always have when you're going to go out and spend a ton of money. One guy that keeps coming up in articles I'm looking at, Jordan Poyer. How do you guys feel about Jordan Poyer at this stage in his career, coming from a divisional
As
rival?
a free safety, I don't want to spend that kind of money on him.
Yeah,
I feel like Bill is good at drafting guys at free safety, making old cornerbacks into free safeties. I think there's so many cheaper options for that position. I don't want to spend big there.
Yeah, first of all, we have a chance that McCourty comes back. Second, that's pretty. Not to say it's a deep position, but you have some options there with Jalen Mills could potentially play that spot.
I'd rather him go there and get a cornerback.
You could draft someone there. I mean, I would say a much better player, probably, McCourty type money would be Jesse Bates from Cincinnati, who's going to be a free agent. So Poyer would be a little bit down on my list, but he's not a bad player, and kick the tires on him if you have no other options there. But certainly take a look at it if you're in that position.
Yeah. I just think it's expensive. They're projected to get, I don't know, 10 to 12 million or something like that.
Did you know McCourty has made more money at safety than anyone in NFL history?
I'm not surprised.
He's played like 4 years longer than Earl Thomas did. And those guys were neck and neck in terms of
And he
contract.
got 2 good contracts. Yeah. McCourty did really well for himself on the contracts with the Patriots. I don't know. I don't want to spend at safety. That's something I think we could draft, or like Ryan said, I'd really like to see Mills at free safety. I mean, that's what he was playing on the Eagles when we brought him in. Not to say that he has been bad at cornerback, but I think he would be maybe better at free safety, and I'd rather spend that money on a cornerback or bringing back Johnny Jones or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What we're starting to see right now too, and this is the kind of the fun part about free agency, is you're starting to see guys get cut. Guys that weren't potentially supposed to be free agents.
There's going to be a lot too.
Right.
Some teams are in real bad cap shape, as usual.
Yeah.
The Saints.
Saints. But the thing that jumps out to me is before all these cuts, I didn't think there was like a lot of great talent on the free agent market as far as like good names, guys you want to spend all that money on. So I'm really thinking like, unless someone ridiculous gets cut that we just weren't expecting, like I don't know how much Michael Thomas still has in the tank or one of those guys, but I just don't know who you spend your money on. So maybe you trade for like a number one wide receiver or something and use some of the money that way.
Well, there's some rumors flying around that the Patriots are kicking the tires in on number one guys. There's been rumors they've been calling about Deebo Samuel, who I find unlikely to come here, but just the fact that they're even bringing that up and that's out there means, they're looking around, which is nice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind them. I mean, it seems like we could get a good receiver too. Right now, everyone's, it's receiver. You have Devontae Parker, you have Thornton from last year, you still have Bourne on your receiving core. Maybe Myers comes back, but I wouldn't mind seeing them trying to get someone in the second round or something that's pretty good again and working with it. Hunter Henry's good. You've got some, your running backs are good. You really need to. If we have a good offensive line, I think our receivers are good enough, especially Kendrick Bourne. We were going into last year saying he could be our number one, and he just got absolutely, left behind. Not that I think he could do it, but I think it takes away from, I don't know. I think we overlook him a lot because of how him and Matt Patricia liked each other this year. And if that dude's an 900 yard dude receiver this year, I think that changes things. And that's what he was 2 years ago. So
right.
I'd take Deebo,
Of course. I don't know why the Niners would even consider getting rid of him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Really cash strapped. I think we've seen the last few years how hard it is when you don't have an elite quarterback and a elite wide receiver. The way the game's trended to compete, some of these teams, you look at some of these teams, they have two of them, and we have a bunch of number twos. We're trying to pigeonhole as number ones. I'm sorry, Devontae Parker. Kendrick Bourne, good players, not number one.
All number twos, number twos, number threes.
That's why $12 million to bring Jacoby Myers back. Like, what is he really like? He's a good player. He's not a number one.
He moves the sticks. He definitely moves the sticks for us.
Big slot. Like, I would rather have Myers than most players, but we need someone dynamic there that defenses have to account for, that pushes the safeties. Yeah,
that would be ideal. Obviously, those players are in high demand and not too frequently dealt. I'm very surprised to hear how many T. Higgins rumors there are. I just feel like he is so key to, the best part about the Bengals is obviously they got a stud at quarterback, but they have a multiplicity of weapons.
Yeah, and
they're very high value weapons. And to give up on that just because he might leave in free agency after a season, I just feel like go for it. Go for the Super Bowl for them. A name that I'm interested from the Patriots perspective that hasn't seemed to be coming up, and it's arguable whether or not he fits that number one wide receiver, stretch the field, that whole thing. Chris Godwin, Tampa Bay.
I've heard his name out there.
I feel it just because he's 26 years old. Can you believe that? He's been in the league 6 seasons. He just turned 26.
Really? He just signed
2
a
days
contract,
ago.
Didn't he?
He did.
Last
But
year?
it's movable. It doesn't have a huge signing bonus, so it wouldn't be a terrible thing for the Buccaneers to eat some of that signing bonus. It goes for the next 4 seasons. So
and the Bucs are 50-something million over cap.
The Bucs are way over the cap. They are clearly not in a win now mode.
Mm-hmm. They've got a cap dump. They've got to
turn this thing over. After Brady left, they really have to turn this thing over. So I feel like he is a key piece for them that's probably going to get moved because they don't have a lot of other pieces, and they could save a bunch of money.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take Chris Godwin in a heartbeat. He has had some injury issues the past year, but I mean, you have him. He's definitely a weapon. I'd call him a number one for sure. I'd take him. I'd definitely take him.
Yeah. He doesn't play that much downfield, but he is a quarterback's best friend.
He's a chain mover.
So, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that I would be interested in. Any of them. That's all I'm thinking about right now. Just any of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Get someone here to help out.
He's still at 1,000 yards. I didn't even think he had a good season. He's still at 1,000 yards and 104 receptions.
Yeah, he's good. So there's a possibility. There are other possibilities. We just saw the Titans dump a bunch of contracts today. That's going to happen more and more frequently. I mean, I'm looking at the teams in the NFL. I misspoke before and said the Chiefs were over the cap. They are not. They have about $500,000 in cap space currently slated for next season. But there are 16 teams in the NFL that are currently over the cap for next year. There's going to be some significant movement on the waiver wire over the next couple weeks as we lead into free agency.
Absolutely.
Couple other
some good players for sure too.
Yes, some people will be hitting the market. Other quarterback stories. So Derek Carr had, I believe, a guarantee in his contract that was supposed to kick in mid-February, which is a really weird timeline for that. Raiders obviously didn't want to pay it. They cut him. He's already visited the New York Jets. At the same time, Aaron Rodgers has been visiting a dark room and is just emerging today from the cave.
Oh, that's today.
I believe it's today. Yeah. Could you imagine how blinding the light would be? But
I don't know.
So you have at least these two quarterbacks who appear to be available. Obviously, Derek Carr on the open market. Where do you guys think these two wind up?
I mean, there's a huge push for the Jets to get somebody. It seems like whether it's Carr, them telling Derek Carr they're going to turn him into a Hall of Famer, or them trying to get Rodgers. I don't know where Carr goes. Carr is kind of a wild card. I thought he had a really bad season versus the past couple seasons where he's been pretty good, at least. I mean, not incredible by any means. He's had his problems, but good, starting quarterback anyways. I think Rodgers is done. I think Rodgers is kind of lost it. I don't know if CT's setting in or what's going on with him. I mean, every year he does some weird reset, and then he came back, this year, and he sucked. He really sucked this year. He had a couple decent games, but overall he was bad, and someone's going to give him a shitload of money, and I think he's going to go there and suck. He's going to be, 40, right? And before Tom Brady, that was unheard of. Peyton Manning was done. Remember his last year? He was done. That was about age 40. Brady's the only quarterback that's ever gone on to start in their 40s and be that successful, playoff win successful. So I don't think Rodgers has that. I don't think he can do it.
I think Carr's.
I hope he goes to the Jets and is terrible.
I don't see it. I feel like
I don't see him going there.
I don't see
He's
him
saying
going
the Raiders. They're saying the Raiders. A lot
That's
of Raiders.
The Raiders actually have money.
Rodgers.
They actually have money, so that's possible. I heard
Carolina.
I heard Carr could go to the Saints, but I don't see how that's possible with the salary cap issue there. I think they're like
$50 million.
They're like $44 million on over the cap. So I don't even know how
50.
that's
Bucks are 59 and they're 50. I don't know. Their Saints have to the funny thing about the Saints is if you look at how their cap numbers are set up, it's like they don't have that guy that's $22 million in savings at all. Like they have to trade people. They have to trade people and have other teams eat money because they have been pushing this, ball and chain so fucking far that they can't do anything. They have
terrible.
Marshawn Lattimore and Ryan Ramczyk combined are over $84 million in dead money.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That's two players, and you cut them, you lose even more
against the cap. Yeah,
there's a lot of surprising teams over the cap. Jaguars,
Cam Jordan. They're all terrible numbers. I don't know. I don't know how they even do this.
Have you heard of David Onyemata?
No.
On the Saints, he's making $10 million against the cap this season.
Oh right, yeah. No, I see that.
Wow.
Who is
He's
that?
not even on the team.
Yeah, who is that?
He's gone. He's gone, but he's costing them $10 million against the cap.
Like the Manny Ramirez deals they're giving out down
there. Get me that guy's agent.
Wow.
That's crazy.
This is bad news.
They've been like that for a few years now. That's why I'm saying Michael Thomas.
They've been like that since Sean Payton left. Sean Payton literally lit the building on fire and walked away and left the hundreds of millions out there for them to get screwed. And now the Broncos just hired him, and I guarantee he's going to do the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
They still haven't brought a defensive coordinator in yet.
For the oh yeah,
Denver.
Yeah.
That's a very attractive job. A lot
It
of
is.
talent on that defense. You got a good head coach who's going to handle the offense.
It is.
You
You
just
think
got
they'd
to
get on the
settle
horn?
down,
They-
just do your side. Yeah.
You know, there's
Yeah.
some good coaches out there too right now.
Bucks are the same way. Looking at their cap situation, it's like they have $35 million in Tom Brady this year, dead money. It's like
Yep.
nothing you could do about that.
So they interviewed Rex Ryan and Brian
I
Flores.
heard that.
Oh, Brian Flores got hired as Vikings defensive coordinator, which is
Massive. Huge.
that's a huge
play
upgrade for them. Oh, it's massive. And then really interesting here, the Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy went to the Commanders.
Went to Washington.
A
Yeah,
lateral
that was a
move,
weird
not
one.
even a head coach, offensive coordinator. That is
That's an odd move. I don't get that. Something's
Well,
going on there.
It doesn't seem like anyone believed in him as a head coach.
Yeah.
He had how many interviews and nobody bit. And so it's like maybe they all thought that it was Andy Reid and not him that was in charge of that offense.
Mhm.
That's a good point. He had a lot of interviews.
However, Frank Reich did do a lateral move from Kansas City to Philadelphia to be the offense coordinator, but Matt Nagy was hired as a head coach after being the offense coordinator there. So I don't know. I think it's probably good for him to strike out on his own away from Andy Reid and at least quell some of those worries. You just wonder if Washington, do they have any prospects of being good offensively? And is he just going to be blamed for them not being good offensively?
Yeah. I'm just looking at their roster and I'm like, yeah, there's some young talent there. I like Dotson. I don't know, man. I don't see how that advances your career in any way. But if he does do really well there, then it's like, oh, I took Kansas City and then we took Washington.
Yeah.
He's going to be a shoo-in after that. Gotta be.
Or he totally kills his career, like so many people do in Washington. And
Yep. All over the place. Matty P,
Yeah,
look
right.
at him. His career is in the coaching gutter right now.
yeah,
Good.
Yep.
Yeah. So looks like we got some movement coming up ahead. Free agency officially begins right around St. Patrick's Day. And there's my favorite misnomer, the legal tampering period beforehand.
Yeah.
I love
Complete
that
joke.
oxymoron.
yeah.
So that's coming up. Combine happening this weekend. We'll get a lot of great information out of that. And
Combines this weekend. Free agency's what, in 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Wow, it's coming up quick.
Coming up fast. And the rumors that are going to be swirling coming out of the combine are going to be outstanding with all the media presence that's there in Indianapolis.
Oh yeah. How much you think the boards are going to change after the combine?
They always
change a
change
lot.
pretty significantly.
They do, yeah.
Trayvon Walker was consensus top 20, 25 pick. After the combine, he was like a lock number 1 or 2. So, I mean, that's just the way
Right.
it goes. You see a lot of these guys, especially like Georgia guys, Alabama guys, they're so talented, but they don't sometimes have the production because they're playing with so many other guys that are just fucking
Right. so they go
eating
just
up all the
kill
numbers.
combine.
It's really interesting. I love the combine. I love the small school guys. I love, the hidden gems you can sometimes find. I love all that
Diamonds
shit.
in
So,
the rough.
yeah, I'm going to be digging super deep into that. And I got some stuff up my sleeve for draft season.
Outstanding. All right. Well, we could put a wrap on the 2022 season. Thank you both. Thank you,
Thank
everyone,
God.
for listening. It's been quite a ride. And we got a lot to look forward to in 2023.
Good riddance
Yes,
to
we
this
do.
season. Let's move
Yeah.
on.
Good riddance to this fucking season. Absolutely.
Indeed.
All right,
Bright
guys.
future ahead. All right. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Adios. Nice.